Welcome to She Sells Radio. We are going to be diving into a brand new series this month, which I am really excited for and feeling inspired by. And selfishly, I think I'm going to benefit as much as I hope that you do from this conversation. And we're going to be diving into a conversation all about prosperity laws and looking at the different prosperity laws that are out there, helping you determine how do I use these in my life and helping you, unlock and unblock any hidden blocks that are holding you back from creating the prosperity that you desire in your life. And I love this concept. There was such a big part of me for so long that made myself really wrong for desiring more in my life. And that story of you should be satisfied with what you have. You've got it better than other people. Like that story really played out in my life for a long time. And it's been a process, a kind of a gradual process. But I feel like in the past few years, I've really stepped into owning it, of allowing myself to say yes to greater levels of prosperity in my life. And prosperity to me means a lot of it's not just financial. I am all about having an overabundance of health, of happiness, of energy, of joy, and of course, being financially supported too. So I think as we go into this, if you're going to want to follow along on this series with me, I'd really think about like, what does prosperity mean for me in my life right now? And what would it look like to step into a whole new level of prosperity? And maybe even do some journaling and reflection on it. Like, where do I feel really prosperous already? And where do I want to create more of that in my life? And here's a little side note hack for you too. When you're looking to create greater abundance, greater prosperity, like especially financially in your life, if you feel like there are any blocks or kind of gunked up channels in that area, stop making it about the financial. Like look for areas outside of the financial where you are abundant, where you are prosperous, whether you've got a great friend circle, you've got a lot of love in your family, you've got an abundance of energy. And the more that we focus on that and those parts that are working, the more we can start to like really shift the energy in the areas that feel like they may not be working so well. So, when I started She Sells, I started it for a lot of different reasons, but one of the core reasons was I saw there were these three main areas that were really missing in virtually every sales and business training I'd been a part of, that for me were the things that actually moved the needle in terms of accomplishing my sales and revenue goals. And they were, number one, how do you rewire limiting beliefs that hold you back from what you want? Because those are responsible for 95 to 98% of your results, my friend. Number two, for women, how do we align our feminine and masculine energy? This actually applies to men too, right? Because we've all got both. And when they're both in alignment in the proportion that works best for us, we're in our greatest power. But for us as women, how do we sell in a way that feels aligned to us? How do we make money in a way that feels aligned to us? How do we step into our fullest expansion and own all of who we are? And oftentimes that hasn't been taught, right? Oftentimes we feel like we are playing out of a playbook that wasn't made for us. And then the third area was wealth consciousness. So elevating your relationship with money, shifting your relationship with money. I'm speaking on a panel a little bit later today about how to go from 6 to 7 figures in sales. And the punchline, I mean, this will be out after I speak on that panel, but the punchline is, guess what? It's a mental game. It's your worthiness. And a lot of us have a lot of work to do in the area of money and the area of feeling like we've got a great relationship with money and like we feel worthy of what we want. And I'm speaking for myself too, because this is an area that has been one of the most profound transformations in my life. And one of the areas, I didn't think I was going to get emotional, but I'm getting emotional about this. One of the areas that I'm most grateful to have been able to shift. And it's still an area that I'm working on growing and expanding on every day too. So for this month, and we'll see if it lasts the full month. I don't know. I honestly don't have like a 30-day list of prosperity laws mapped out for you yet. I know quite a few where I'm going to take you through all the ones that I know, and we'll see where we land with that. But for this month, I really want to help you elevate in the area of financial abundance and of shifting that relationship with money. And so this series on prosperity laws is going to be diving into the energetics of money, diving into how do you figure out what the money blocks are, how do you call in more money. And these are laws just like the law of gravity, and so we have to remember with all of these, they're agnostic. Like if someone jumps off a building every single time, they're going to fall down to the ground. It's the law of gravity. When you learn how to follow these success laws, these prosperity laws, every single time they work for every single person. And so there's a lot of beauty in that we get to not feel like we're kind of like fumbling through the dark, trying to figure out, is this going to work for me? Am I going to achieve my goals? When you work with the law and you know what the law is, you can anticipate what result you're going to get. Not to say that there aren't going to be unexpected things along the way, because sometimes that's part of the process of getting you to the destination. So we don't micromanage the journey. But when we know the laws and we work with the laws, then we don't have to wonder or worry, is this going to work out? So I think this is going to be a really fun series, and I'm excited. And like I said at the beginning, I'm excited because I think I'm going to learn more by teaching this too. So the first law that we're going to be diving into today is the law of cause and effect, the prosperity law of cause and effect. This one is basically, as you sow, so shall you reap. So every effect that you see in your outer world, there is a cause to it. And it starts with a mental cause. So your thoughts create your feelings, determine your actions, which determine your results, right? You've probably heard something like that before, but it all stems back to a thought. And I've been studying a lot of Wayne Dyer recently. I've been studying a lot of Bob Proctor, a lot of Joe Dispenza. There's nothing new about that. But Wayne Dyer, in his book, The Power of Intention, talks about the frequency of different aspects of our planet and the speed, the frequency of the material world, then the sound, the light world, and the thought world. And that thoughts, like the frequency of a thought travels, it's so much more powerful than like the most powerful laser on the planet. And so knowing that everything starts with your thoughts and how powerful those are is really, really important with the law of cause and effect. And according to this law, you're always a success because you're always getting the result that you were causing, which is really interesting to think about, right? And I think this is one of the big takeaways from this law is to stop blaming other people and outside circumstances for your results, like truly taking ownership. And now this is one of the scariest things to do. This can be one of the hardest things to do. If there's a part of you that feels safer in disempowered or victim mode, which many people do, you're going to have resistance to this. But the truth is with this, you are always causing the results in your life, whether you like them or not. And the empowering part of that is you get to do something about it. So if there's an effect that you don't like, and remember, everything that is in your current situation right now, your current sales and revenue numbers for this month, the current amount in your bank account, the current health of your body, your current family scenario, it's old news. It's an effect that you caused a while back. So the challenge is we get so caught up looking at effects that because you get what you focus on, you'll just keep on creating more and more and more of the same effects in your life. And then you say, why isn't anything changing? It's because you keep looking at the effect, not going to the cause. I heard someone say this. Oh, I don't remember her name. I wish I could remember her name. But it was in the movie The Abundance Code, which you can watch on Gaia. But she was talking about cause and effect. And she said, most people deal just with effects in their lives. And to do that is the equivalent of watering like the leaves on a tree, right? If you want to water your flowers or your tree, you got to go to the root. You got to get the water down there to the root. But most people, when it comes to the effects in their lives, do the equivalent of watering the leaves. And so nothing changes and nothing grows. So really the way to determine this, or excuse me, the way to use this is to look at, I think there's a few ways you can use it. One is to really use it to shift into full ownership in your life and to say, you may look around and say, well, I didn't cause that result. I didn't cause that calamity. I didn't cause that. Guess what? Some part, either you weren't consciously creating, and the way that our world works, if you're not consciously creating, you get bumped around by things, right? So yes, you did in a way because you weren't consciously creating, or we can literally look at the circumstances and say, you know what? My relationship isn't where I'd love it to be right now. And if I really look at it, I know that I'm bringing some baggage to the table. Like I'm mirroring out and playing out these dynamics that maybe I had with a parent growing up, or that I had with an authority figure that I didn't feel great about. So we get to really be empowered and say, how am I contributing to this? But then you also get to use this, excuse me, in an empowered way to say, what is the effect? I don't know what's up with my voice this morning. I'm not sick. I'm actually healthy, but for whatever reason, maybe it's just the first like real talking I've done today. So when you're looking to look at the effect that you want to create, and then we can reverse engineer that to say, what would the cause be of that effect? So for example, I was speaking yesterday to a group of women in insurance, this really, really cool group of women. And I just love sharing higher level mindset, wealth consciousness principles with audiences specifically that haven't been exposed to it as much, because it's like, I didn't know this stuff for so long. And when I learned it, I felt like I was finally free. And so I love going in and speaking to audiences like that. So I was speaking to this group of insurance professionals and having them share their goals for the year. And one woman shared her goal was 100,000. I was like, beautiful. So it really is then about looking at, for the woman who makes $100,000 this year, what is that? That's the effect. The 100,000 is the effect. What's the cause of that? And I think where we can get caught up, especially in how we approach our careers and our businesses, we say, well, making this much, doing this much activity, making this many calls got me this amount. So to get to, let's just say she wanted, I don't know where she's at right now, but let's say she was doubling by going to 100. So I just need to double my activity. Now, is that one way? Like, could that be one cause? Yes, it totally could. And in my own experience, it is not typically the most powerful way to get there. So this is where we get to dig into kind of a lot of like Price Pritchett's work, quantum leap strategy, looking for the most elegant approach, looking for the most efficacious approach, looking for what is there's another law, the law of least action. So what's the least action I can take that's going to get me the greatest result? I was on a mastermind call too yesterday with one of my mentors, and she said this line that I loved. She was like, a lot of successful people would look at them and think they're lazy. And it's not actually that you're lazy. It's that you know how to use the law of least action to get the greatest result. So with this, what I'm saying is be able to step outside of the box of how you've always done things and say, what's the effect I'm looking to create? And then what would be the most elegant cause of that effect? What would be the most direct cause? Who is the person who creates that effect? And we want to go to our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, because that's the key, is you being in alignment with that effect. And a lot of times the actions that got you whatever the result you have now, it's not just about doing more of the same. I mean, maybe, but if you're going for the true quantum leap, it's not. It's about doing something differently. So what's the different, usually stretchy, like out of your comfort zone type of action that's going to get you that effect that you're looking for? So just remembering you cause the effects in your life. So from a prosperity standpoint, if you're looking to cause a new effect, you get to think about what would do that. Do your thoughts need to get in alignment with the goal you have? So we got to do some belief training work, maybe, right? Usually that's a key piece of it. Are you feeling the way you're going to be feeling when what you desire to create happens? And if not, you're going to cause a different effect. You got to feel like it's already here. And then third, what are the actions that someone would take who has the goal that you're looking to achieve? So that is the law of cause and effect. You can use it like clockwork in every area of your life. And let me know too on social. I'm at Elyse Archer. I want to hear, are you like, what do you want to learn out of this series? What are you excited about? Is there a law that you want to make sure that I cover? Because there's a ton of them. And I may miss one. I don't know. Write to me. Let me know what you want me to cover. And let me know if you're enjoying this too. So super grateful you tuned in to today's episode. As always, you can go to ElyseArcher.com for more resources, our programs to help you scale to 6 and 7 figures in your career, and really to elevate all areas of your life. So thank you for tuning in, wishing you a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you on our next episode.